Hi, everyone. It's time to dive into the most impactful updates from the Golden State Warriors. But first, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, click that button now and turn on the notification bell. And of course, drop a like to show your support. Today, we're witnessing one of the most symbolic moments of the NBA's new era. An unexpected move, full of meaning, that's taking the basketball world by storm. And if you're a fan of basketball or just someone who follows the NBA behind the scenes, you've probably already felt the different energy that has taken over social media in recent hours. The Golden State Warriors have made a move that's not just bold, it's historic. A gesture that goes beyond tactics, beyond roster reinforcement. They've acted on something almost symbolic, signing a giant from the other side of the world. A name that, for those who love Asian basketball, already stands for pride, hope, and resilience. Sotto, the 7'3" Filipino young man who brings not just height, but a story worthy of a movie script, has been officially announced as the newest member of the Warriors. And no, this is not just another preseason signing. It's a seismic shift in the global basketball scene. It's as if the San Francisco franchise opened its doors not just to a player, but to an entire country. And the world's reaction was immediate, an avalanche of emotion and recognition. In the Philippines, the announcement was received as if it were the winning of a championship. Social media exploded, streets waved flags, fans were moved to tears, and children began to dream. It only took minutes for Sotto and Warriors to dominate trending topics in multiple countries. But what makes this moment so impactful? It's not just the player's height or the fact that he's the first full-blooded Filipino to join one of the NBA's most iconic modern franchises. It's the symbolism. It's the realization of a dream that for so long felt out of reach for a nation that breathes basketball but has rarely been represented in the world's top league. Didn't get here by luck. His journey has been paved with sacrifice, radical life changes, and unshakable resilience. Still a teenager, he left everything behind to chase his dream in the United States, where he quickly gained attention with his soft touch around the rim and his high-level basketball IQ, far beyond the typical big man skill set. At the Skill Factory in Atlanta, he refined his skills and piqued the interest of scouts who saw something rare, a very tall young man with good coordination, strong fundamentals, and, most importantly, a deep hunger to learn. But his path wasn't the easiest. Instead of following the traditional U.S. college basketball route, dared to be different. He chose an early professional path, joining the Adelaide 36ers in Australia's NBL. And there, going up against veterans and NBA-caliber talent, he proved his presence on the court was more than a novelty. It was a statement. With solid games, visible growth, and a humble attitude, he attracted attention again. But the NBA still wasn't ready. He needed more strength, more experience, more edge. So headed to Japan to play for the Hiroshima Dragonflies in the B-League. There, once again, he elevated his game. He commanded the paint, diversified his offensive arsenal, and, most importantly, showed mental growth, a crucial factor for any player aiming to compete at the highest level of global basketball. Meanwhile, the Golden State Warriors were watching, quietly, but with surgical precision. Sources close to the team reveal that Kai's name had been discussed internally for months, that scouts had been tracking every game, every move, every number of his development overseas. What did they see? A disciplined, focused young man with above-average tactical awareness who seemed tailor-made for the Warriors' fluid, team-oriented style. The contract? A partially guaranteed one-year deal, including participation in training camp and a real opportunity to earn a spot through a two-way contract. To many, this might look like a gamble, but to the Warriors, it's a strategic vision. Within Steve Kerr's system, where tactical intelligence is as prized as physical ability, Kai could thrive. The team constantly looks for players who can pass, read the game, and react quickly. And Kai, even at over 7 feet tall, has shown those tools. His court vision is clear, his high-post passing is almost instinctive, and his mid-range shot adds another layer to the team's collective offense. Beyond that, there's an obvious gap in the Warriors roster, a dominant paint presence. And Kai could be the one to fill it. He brings something the franchise hasn't seen in years, a true rim protector with mobility and offensive contributions outside the paint. But the Warriors' move goes beyond on-court performance. They know they're embracing something much bigger, representation. By bringing Kai into the roster, Golden State is directly connecting with a massive, passionate, and extremely loyal fan base. The immediate impact is already visible. Kai's name has boosted sales of official merchandise, caused a spike in social media followers, and triggered a wave of engagement that few franchises can achieve. This isn't just about marketing. It's about identity, about pride, about belonging. And all of this comes at a time when the Warriors are looking to reinvent themselves, to renew, to look to the future without letting go of their championship roots. Reports suggest the locker room is already preparing to welcome Kai with open arms. Veterans like Draymond Green are said to be ready to help the young man adjust, offering guidance and support in handling the pressure and demands of the NBA. Former Warriors players like David West and Andrew Bogut have already taken to social media to congratulate Kai and wish him success, recognizing the symbolic weight of his arrival. And the expectation is that this is just the beginning. Rumors indicate the Warriors are increasingly tuned in to the international scene, especially in Asia. Names like Rienza Bando, currently excelling in South Korea, are already on their radar. The question many are asking now is, are the Warriors paving a new path, one that's more connected with the global diversity the NBA represents? If it's up to Kai Sotto, that bridge is already built. Now it's on him. The stage is set, the story is being written, but nothing will be handed to him on a silver platter. Kai knows that. He understands the size of the challenge he's about to face. The NBA is a tactical, physical, and emotional jungle. It's the territory of the best, where every single minute on the court must be earned through sweat, intelligence, and courage. And for a rookie coming from outside the traditional circuit, the path is even narrower. Adaptation will be his first obstacle. The speed of the plays, the athletic level of the opponents, the impact of physical contact, everything will be more intense. Even the practices won't be simple. Every drill, every rep, every scrimmage will be closely watched by a coaching staff that values not just talent, but the ability to grow under pressure. And this is where Kai might surprise everyone. What he may lack in raw physical explosiveness, he makes up for with basketball IQ. What he doesn't yet have in NBA experience, he offers in maturity gained through years of facing adversity far from home. There is a steadiness in his presence, a focus rarely seen in players his age. He plays to win, but more than that, he plays to learn. And in a system like the Warriors, that might be the difference. And it's not just the franchise that believes in him. The Filipino community around the world has already embraced Kai as an ambassador. He doesn't just wear a jersey, he carries the weight of a collective hope. For millions of fans, every minute he spends on the court will be a statement. We belong on this stage too. It's impossible not to be moved by that. Videos continue to flood social media. Filipino kids practicing in Warriors shirts, schools throwing parties to celebrate the announcement, elderly people crying in front of their TVs as if reliving the greatest moments in their nation's sports history, all because of a young man who dared to dream. But for Kai, this affection is not a burden. It's fuel. He knows it won't be easy, that he'll make mistakes, that he'll be criticized, that he'll face tough games. But he also knows that every mistake will be an opportunity to prove he's here to stay. And even if he doesn't secure an immediate spot in the main rotation, just being at practices, experiencing the Golden State culture from the inside, is already a massive gain. The environment created by Steve Kerr values continuous learning. Players like Jordan Poole, Kevon Looney, and even Andrew Wiggins at one point evolved within this system precisely because there was time, patience, and long-term vision. The same can happen with Kai. If he's able to absorb the knowledge, polish his weaknesses, and make the most of his strengths, he'll be on the right path to establishing himself. Furthermore, there's a quiet sense of renewal brewing behind the scenes in Golden State. After years at the top, the team knows it must look ahead. It needs to discover new pieces, new narratives, new sources of energy, and in that sense, Kai Sotto is more than just a signing. He's a signal, a reminder that the future isn't just a continuation of the present, but a reinvention. And speaking of reinvention, we can't ignore what this move represents strategically. The NBA, as a league, has been working to solidify its global reach for decades. Investments in China, Africa, South America, the Nordic countries. Now, Southeast Asia enters the map with force, and Kai could be the definitive bridge. The impact of this goes far beyond basketball. Brands have already begun to move. Asian sponsors are showing renewed interest in the Warriors. Filipino media companies have ramped up coverage of the team. Even the NBA League Pass has seen a spike in subscriptions from the Philippines in the last 24 hours. And all of this stems from a decision that, at first glance, looked like merely giving a chance to a promising young man. But it's so much more. It's a gesture that says, talent can come from anywhere, that the NBA is willing to open its doors not only to the ready-made players, but to those with potential, humility, and a desire to grow. And at a time when so many fans feel disillusioned, demotivated, or disconnected due to inflated contracts and repetitive narratives, Kai Sotto emerges as a pure story. A story of grit, of faith, of possibilities. And the Warriors were wise enough to recognize that. The coaching staff, for their part, are already exploring tactical alternatives to fit Kai into the right moments. With a thinner front-court rotation and veterans who will need minute management, opportunities will arise, and they could be golden for the Filipino big man, especially in preseason games, open practices, and alternate team opportunities. Kai will have the chance to prove he's more than a marketing move. He can be a real piece in the team's rotation. Everything will depend on him, on how he approaches training camp, on how he responds to daily challenges, on how he positions himself as an athlete, as a professional, as a symbol. But if he continues with what he's already shown, courage, discipline, dedication, the odds are in his favor. And let's not forget, we're talking about a 22-year-old. That means the best is still ahead. His body can still develop. His shot can be refined. His tactical reading can reach new heights. Imagine 2 years from now, with 20 extra pounds of muscle, a more consistent three-point shot, and accumulated experience. He could very well become a solid presence in a league that increasingly values modern, versatile bigs. And for the Warriors, that would be like discovering a rare gem in the most unexpected place. We are witnessing something big unfolding before our eyes. And if you love basketball, no matter which team you support, it's worth following closely. Because Kai Sotto is not just a prospect. He's the reflection of a new phase in the NBA, a phase that is more diverse, more connected, more open to extraordinary talent from outside the mainstream. And Golden State, once again, is ahead of the curve. Now we wait, watch the practices, watch the friendlies, see how he responds, and hope that this story, which already began as something inspiring, continues to surprise. Because when a player steps on the court carrying the weight of a nation and still smiles, it's because he knows he's not alone. And maybe, just maybe, this is the beginning of a legend. There are moments when sports transcend their own rules, when a simple contract signing carries meanings that no statistic can explain, and that is exactly what's happening with Kai Sotto. Because his arrival at the Golden State Warriors is not just being celebrated by coaches, scouts, and fans, it's being felt in the veins of a people who, for decades, dreamed of this moment. In Manila, in Cebu, in Davao, in the most remote villages and the most populated cities, Kai's name echoes with power. He has become the living symbol of an old hope that the NBA, long seen as a stage far out of reach, has finally made room for talent blooming on the other side of the world. And this changes everything. It changes how young Filipinos see the sport. It changes the mindset of schools, coaches, and youth programs. Now, there is a concrete, tangible example that the impossible can be challenged, that it doesn't matter where you come from. What matters is how far you're willing to go. But this phenomenon also brings a massive emotional weight, because Kai isn't just trying to earn a spot in the Warriors' rotation. He is representing a global community, trying to prove that his journey is not an outlier, but the beginning of a new standard. And that takes balance. It takes maturity. It requires him to know when to silence the world around him and listen only to what's inside. Because it's in the silence that resilience is built, and it's with resilience that legacies are born. The Warriors' locker room, as competitive as it is, also has a history of being welcoming. Steve Kerr, with his open mindset and humanized leadership, knows how to deal with young players who carry powerful stories. He understands that a player is more than his performance on the court. He is his life experience, his culture, his path. And for that reason, Kai's arrival is being handled with care. There will be no rush, no public pressure. The Warriors don't want to turn the young Filipino into a spectacle. They want to allow him to grow naturally, to develop technically and mentally in a safe and structured environment. This approach is fundamental because the NBA has seen countless international talents get lost in the process. The difference is often not in skill, but in the support they receive off the court. And in that regard, Golden State may be the best place in the world for Kai to evolve. Meanwhile, in the Philippines, the movement keeps growing. Universities are increasing investment in basketball. Schools are creating programs inspired by Kai's development model. Gyms are packed with kids whose eyes shine with dreams of being the next name to cross the ocean. Local television is covering every detail. Newspapers, news portals, influencers, all are following Kai's every move in San Francisco. There's a collective sense of belonging, as if every Filipino had sent a piece of themselves with him. And on the business side, the NBA is paying attention. This signing is already considered one of the smartest international moves in recent years, because it goes far beyond what happens on the court. Kai Sotto has the potential to be the league's biggest connector to Southeast Asia. With his authentic image, clean story, humble demeanor, and real talent, he represents exactly the kind of figure that bridges cultures, inspires audiences, and reinforces the global character of the league. Big brands are watching. There are ongoing negotiations for advertising campaigns linking Kai to the Warriors and the NBA as a whole. At the same time, small Filipino brands also see this as a unique opportunity to grow, to internationalize their products and services. And looking ahead, it's not hard to imagine Kai Sotto as the face of special NBA events outside the United States. Preseason games in the Philippines, social campaigns across Asia, youth exchange and development programs. The door is now open. And he's the one who turned the key. But at the end of the day, far from the cameras, the flashes, and the sponsorship deals, Kai is still a 22-year-old kid with a dream, a boy who grew up watching videos of Tim Duncan, Pau Gasol, Hakeem Olajuwon, a center who practiced shots in the mirror, who cried after losses, who doubted himself, and still kept going. And that essence is what can keep him on the right path. Because more than talent, what it takes is truth. And Kai plays with truth, with commitment, with something that can't be taught, purpose. When he steps on the court, he's not just an athlete trying to score. He's a symbol trying to turn the pain of distance into strength, trying to show that there's beauty in resilience, that there's glory in persistence. And the Warriors, by betting on him, are not just filling a roster spot. They're sending a message to the league, to the world, to everyone who, like Kai, has been underestimated. The message is clear. Talent deserves opportunity, and courage deserves space. Now, the season approaches. Practices are getting more intense. The roster is taking shape. Questions arise. Will Kai earn minutes? Will he impress in the preseason? Will he be able to compete with stronger, more experienced centers? No one has that answer. But maybe that doesn't matter right now. What matters is what's already been done, what's already been achieved, what's already been set in motion. Because no matter what happens, Kai Sotto has already broken barriers, already opened doors, already inspired a generation. And that, no scoreboard can erase. And if you've made it this far, it's because you feel the weight and beauty of this story just as deeply as we do. Kai Sotto is not just a player. He is living proof that dreams are possible, even when they're born far from the spotlight. What we're witnessing is more than just a signing. It's the birth of a new era, an era where talent, courage, and representation meet at the heart of one of the most legendary franchises in the NBA. Now it's on him, and it's on us, too. So if this story touched you in any way, if you felt inspired, represented, moved, you know what to do. Leave your like, because it helps us keep bringing you content like this, full of truth, emotion, and deep respect for the journey of those who are making history. And of course, subscribe to the channel right now. Come be part of this community with us. Here, you won't miss a thing about the NBA world, global basketball, and the stories that truly matter. Because in the end, it's not just about sports. It's about people. It's about believing. And Sotto's journey, that has only just begun.